gives hope. And Aaron
Please stand and rise for the flag, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
May be seated. All righty. Any person may appear before the court at this time that may not be on the agenda.
Yes, sir, Judge. Sheriff Bueno.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Just want to let you know that we are making arrangements with a new police chief in regards to a new agreement regarding the highway interdiction program. We met with him 3 times, so we're trying to get that to the city council and get that approved as soon as possible. The other item that I want to talk about is the generators that are going to be we'll be working on for the 3 sites, Orange Grove, Fremont, and Alice, a cost of $41,000. We had applied for a grant, but it didn't come through, so we will be using drug forfeiture fund on that. Right now, we also have 58 inmates, male inmates, and 8 female inmates. So any female inmate will either have to be turned away, charged, and then dismissed on a reconnaissance bond or a bond, because we have no space for females, and other counties are not taking females. The radio system is working very well. We just got a little problem here and there with the paging, but it's being worked on. We should be all right within the next 2 weeks. Also, wanted to inform you that all our employees here at the Jim Wells County Sheriff's Office have been vaccinated. So that is just an amazing turnout of employees that got vaccinated with their first and second vaccine. Some of them even got the Johnson & Johnson. So we put a policy in place with the assistance of our county attorney, and we were able to get everybody vaccinated. We also had it cleared through TAC, and that has been an amazing practice, and other law enforcement agencies have contacted us wanting to see our policy that we put in place. This week, we had 2 arrests, 2 individuals, 9 pounds of cocaine and 9 pounds of meth. At this time, we are 12 pounds of meth. 12 pounds of meth. I'm sorry, I thought it was 9 pounds of meth, but it was 12 pounds of meth. The federal agents came by and assisted us to take the case over, so they have been transported to Corpus. That's what we have for information. Thank you.
Sheriff, thank you very much for that. Any other questions, Commissioners? Sheriff? No? Anyone else at this time?
Renee's not gonna be here this morning, Judge. She had a medical emergency or something.
Okay. Yes, would you like to come and speak before the court at this time?
It's on the agenda.
Okay, then you can wait till the agenda item and we can speak at that time.
Number 13, sir.
Okay, that'll be fine. We'll, have we have that form? Okay. You filled out the form, okay. Anyone else at this time that would like to come before the court that's not on the agenda or doesn't have an agenda item? Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and proceed here to agenda item number 4, consider approving minutes for previous meeting, Commissioners.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 4.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
A second.
And a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 5, consideration and approval of offer to purchase tax sale property, suit number 1704-16997B, Jim Wells County, City of Alice, Alice Independent School District, and Alice Water Authority versus Hilda Garza. Okay. We have an offer to purchase tax sale property, and an offer has been made by George Pettis III, 710 Esperanza Alice, Texas 78332, in the amount of $5,000 for the purchase of a tax sale property owned in trust by Jim Wells County taxing authorities as a result of the property's failure to sell at tax sale on the courthouse steps for the entire amount of delinquent taxes and costs owed. Again, so
Make a motion to approve.
Have a second.
we have a motion on the floor and a second to accept this offer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, then we got that done. Agenda item number 6. Discuss and consider from Alice Youth Football League requests for contribution of $30,000 to continue building and maintaining the program to help the development of our youth. Okay, do we have anybody that's here before that needs to come before the court to speak?
No, it's the wrong one. Huh? It's at Alice Youth Center.
This is the
one's
Alice
on
Youth
this?
Football
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alice Youth Football League.
first, and then the youth center afterwards.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hello. My name is Cookie Rosales, and I am the president of the Alice Youth Football League. The Alice Youth Football League has been in existence since 1996 and is a huge mentoring program for the city of Alice. We are trying to save one kid at a time. Through youth sports, we are teaching life lessons like teamwork, and that if you work hard enough, you can be successful in life. I come to you today because the kids of our community need a place to call their own. We are requesting funds in the amount of $30,000 so we can construct 2 football fields, remodel our concessions and restrooms, put up a fence to protect the facility, repair existing irrigation, and have a place where the kids of the hub city can play youth sports. Our objective through youth sports is to educate and enable our community's youth to reject illicit drugs and to build self-esteem and enhance social skills in order for our kids to become productive citizens. I've been involved with the Youth League for 22 years. And when my time is done, I will always have a place. The kids will always have a place to play the sport that is a religion in Alice. Help me protect the tradition of the Alice Coyotes, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, sir.
Just commissioners, do we have any questions?
You know, we
Fellas?
right now, we can accept the request. In May, we look at it and make sure that everything's in order and we will not probably fund the whole 30,000, but right now we'll accept the request.
Yes, sir.
We'll accept the request without taking any action so we can
Yeah,
look at
right.
our funds for that particular fund that we make available to any nonprofit or any group that comes before us. We've done a little bit of that has a history already. But we'll look at that, definitely consider it seriously and look at the numbers, and we will reach out as soon as we're ready for that decision.
Yes, sir.
When we get to that point.
Motion to accept the request.
Okay, have a motion on
second
the
it.
floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for helping the youth.
Thank you.
And now we have discuss and consider by West Alice Youth Center request for contribution of $20,000 for implementation of drug preventive programs for the children of the Rancho Alegre community. And he had,
Yeah, Judge, the copies there show the expenditures from June 2020 through December 2020 for the youth center.
okay, Mr. Gonzalez, these are the expenditures that you
Yes, Your
provided for us, right? That we requested.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you guys know, we're going into our 15th year there at the youth center.
Yes, sir.
We started in 2007 with basically no money.
Right.
And suffered through, 3, 4, 5 years of having to fundraise and sell tickets and do all the hard work that it takes to get these kind of programs started. Eventually we got to where our budget now is about 40 grand a year. And what we do at the youth center is, we're in Rancho Alegre, so it's a tough neighborhood for kids to grow up in. And we try to provide activities in any shape, way, or form that we can to keep them from being taken over by the prison gangs, because the prison gangs are out there and they're recruiting these kids young.
Correct.
But the money we asked for is to fund us from June to the end of the year, and that covers our summer program. Last year, it wasn't much of a program. Actually, it was about half of what it should have been. We had COVID that kind of kicked in July, and it cut into a lot of our activities. We kept everything outdoors. The benefit though was that because we had a smaller group of kids, we got to interact not only with them but with their parents more one-on-one, and that actually not the way we want to go, but it for an off year, it actually gave us more
Opportunity
to
engage,
interact with the
know a little bit
kids.
more about 'em.
And
Very
so
effective.
it worked out pretty good. If you look at the list that we have here, utilities was a big portion of our bills, insurance, the supplies and the activities for the kids. We do a lot of no drug artwork and activities for the summer. We've got to buy all the supplies, the canvases, the paint. Number three, the employees, that's actually a third of what we normally pay for that time period. And part of the deal was we didn't have the usual length of the program. So that number was really low. This year, we fully expect to have the entire 10-week program, which is June, July, and then before school starts. So that's why we requested the 20,000, because last year I actually took into consideration that we were in the COVID pandemic and we asked for 15. It actually would probably take to do it right from June to end of the year, 20 to 25,000. And actually maybe even more, but that would be, I couldn't do that. That's just that's beyond what we're capable of providing there. But we asked for help again this year. We've been doing it. I think this is probably the 7th or 8th year we've been funded from the county, and we keep getting bigger and we add more every year. We're actually trying to expand a little bit into San Diego. Of course, Duval will have to put the money up for that. But I've been in charge of the park across from the courthouse for the last 2 years, and we've gone from a disaster to a really nice
The
park.
improvements that are out there.
Yeah, so we're trying to expand out there and have the county, Duval, do what we're doing in
They
Rancho
can.
Alegre.
Yeah. to help.
But we would
Motion
appreciate
to
the help,
accept
Judge.
request.
Second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the request and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you,
Mr.
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, thank you for the
Thank you,
service
Judge. And like I said,
provided.
we invite every one of you guys out there, if you ever want to take a look at what we're doing, just come to the grounds and take a stroll and you'll see what we have out there.
Well, personally, I've heard the kids and the families that look forward to having that safe space, the green area, and have activities out there. So it's been a great
Oh, yeah.
for the
it's
area.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it.
you.
Okay, and we'll see
beautiful.
y'all.
The grounds
Thank
are
you, sir.
beautiful.
Appreciate it.
Did all your greenery freeze?
To survive your greenery.
We lost like 2.
Oh, wow. That's,
little tangerine trees, so we're good.
oh, that's good.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day. Agenda Item number 8, presentation of the Safety of Excellence Award by TAC Risk Management Consultant Victor Uvalle. Mr. Uvalle, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Judge. Good to see you again. Commissioners, thank you for having me this morning again. It seems like I was just last year presenting the award, but y'all are doing a great job. The county earned the 2020 Excellence Award from the TAC Risk Management Pool. So the claims are continuing to be down for this county, because if they weren't, you would not earn the award. Not only do you have to keep your claims down, but you have to do training, you have to have policies, and it has to be done throughout the year. And it was done, even though COVID was there. A lot of the counties kind of weren't able to continue as strong at their safety programs, but this county was able to do it. So congratulations for earning the 2020 Excellence Award. And this is the plaque. And I do want to introduce you, not only do I recognize this, but this is our risk control manager, Clemente Zabalza, and he's the leader of who gets the awards. They analyze it, they look at numbers, they look at what you've done, and then they award, they earned it. Y'all earned it, so they gave it to you. So earning it, having to work for it. So this is the 2020 Excellence Award. But one great thing that happened this year also is that there was an individual here at the county that received the TAC Making a Difference Award. And that was your safety officer, Roel Sosa. And can I read you just a few things of what he did? And this was also earned. We had our risk control consultant, Larry Bacasio, worked closely with Roel. and they look at these things, and they throughout the year try to implement trainings and policies and stuff like that. But he as soon as Roel got here, he had a background already working with Commissioner about safety programs, so he just fit right in with us. And then Mr. Sosa shared information on incidents in 2019, county losses with all employees. He was highly visible source. He has developed and implemented numerous processes to keep county's employees safe, including monthly meetings, stand-down meetings with the road and bridge crews, also reporting near misses entitled See Something, Say Something, so that they don't get hurt. Sosa has strengthened the county's vehicle inspection program and instituted a site inspection program for the road and bridge crews. He is also utilizing TxDOT standards and incorporating them into the daily road and bridge activities. Despite the COVID pandemic, Sosa continued coordinating training with the University of Texas, Arlington, provided work zone safety, beginner motor grader, intermediate motor grader, and backhoe and front loader training for the road and bridge crews. He also scheduled the oil distributor flagging and other motor grader classes for 2021. So he's already on it for 2021. In his spare time, he's obtained his Vector and OSS licenses from the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality and conducts those inspections. And these are some of the accomplishments he did in 2020. And one quote that we got from him that we like, it says here. The COVID-19 has slowed us down, but safety never slows down. And that was his quote. And he he lives it. Excellent. So he did earn the Making a Difference Award. We did a presentation, and this is the award.
Nice.
One thing that through all these efforts, it helps to keep your costs down, which you pay less on the contribution, which helps to save tax dollar payers, for the taxpayer, saves dollars for the taxpayer by keeping your costs down. And now that you've had this award for almost 4 years, workers' comp, they rated based on 5 years, actually, they look at. So you got 4 good years there. You're going to be looking good, on price. Hopefully, like I said, accidents can always happen. There's always things that happen. But at least right now, those are right there. We know that you got 4 good years that are going to help control your costs for the future out there. And that's overall. Not only does he keep your people safe and he cares about people not getting hurt, want them to go home, but he also helps on the costs out there. And I think Clemente wanted to give a few words on this.
Okay.
Morning, judges and commissioners. It is my pleasure to be here this morning to help Victor in presenting these awards. I wanted to tell you a little because this is one of the programs under my watch to make sure that we recognize members that are doing extraordinary work in the line of safety. And let me tell you, out of 254 counties, only 11 counties earned this award this year, which says a lot about where Jim Wells stands as far as their safety efforts. It's a team effort, a lot of people working and involved, beginning with Mr. Sosa and leading the effort. So let me tell you, everybody working together, really the oversight by the judge and by the commissioners in supporting their efforts wouldn't make this possible. And so your contribution to this is essential for this to be successful. Like I said, only 11 counties met the standard that we set for our members to be able to receive this award. And so again, that says a lot. Like Mr. Valle says, you guys are going to see it probably in the future with your contributions on this program. But let me tell you this is where it really makes a difference. Your employees, because of the safety efforts, are able to go home at the end of the day to their families. And that cannot be measured in any dollars. So I commend y'all to continue doing this and to continue these efforts because your support is invaluable to this community, to this county, and to the employees and the residents of this county. So thank you so much. We appreciate your support. And again, congratulations.
Now, thank you all for all your support and for all the efforts and for helping our safety, Mr. Sosa, do his job with all the support and the guidance y'all give him. And of course, the Commissioners Court has provided our departments with every resource possible so they can do their job and training. And we thank you for all the work you do and the recognition that you've given us. And Mr. Sosa, Roel, would you like to say a few words here and come up forward?
And actually, the Excellence Award in my region was only one So far, out of 64 counties, y'all are the only one.
Right, great.
I'd just like to say, safety is not something that we have to do because we're gonna get in trouble or fired. Safety is something we should have in our hearts, so that way we'll go home to our families. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you care so much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Roel.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Victor, we need to take a snapshot.
Yes, that'd be great.
Come, you wanna come over?
Hey, thank you for everything, for your help, and thank you, sir, for that presentation.
Great job.
Go ahead. Larry said he's gonna get you some supplies, or he got you some.
I'm not sure. He might. Thank you. Congratulations.
Y'all, just in case, because I've been having problems with this one. You know.
Big smile. I got a big smile.
Thank you, guys. Again, appreciate your presentation, and thank you for everything, for your help. Thank you, Victor, Roel. Y'all have a great day. All right. Okay. Again, guys, thank you all very much. Have a good day. Agenda item number 9, discuss and consider proclamation submitted by Brush Country Casa making April Child Abuse Prevention Month. Do we have anybody here from Casa at all? I know we have another meeting. No? Okay, then I'm just gonna go ahead and read out the proclamation to recognize April. Proclamation of the Office of Honorable Judge Juan Rodriguez Jr., whereas child maltreatment is a community problem, finding solutions depends on involvement among people throughout the community, and whereas it is time to focus on ways not only to protect children, but also to prevent abuse from ever occurring. And this is our opportunity to make a difference in young lives. And whereas in Texas, more than 3 children die from abuse or neglect on average every week, 182 children are confirmed victims daily, and more than 7 children are maltreated every hour. And whereas in 2020, the Texas child population was 7,515,129 alleged victims, 184,813 children, confirmed investigations of 26,461 children, and removed 16,522 children in Texas, of which there were 707 alleged child victims in Jimwills, Brooks, Duval, Kennedy, and Clayburgh counties, and 198 confirmed victims of abuse or neglect. And whereas all children have the right to feel safe in their own homes and to be provided every opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive, child abuse violates a child's dignity, security, vulnerability, and humanity. And whereas by strengthening families and providing safe and stable, nurturing environments that are free from violence, abuse, and neglect, opportunities are created for children's optimal growth and success, ensuring a secure future for our communities, where the needs of children a priority and the needs of families are met. Whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among families, social service agencies, schools, religious and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Whereas all citizens, community agencies, faith organizations, and businesses should strive to increase their efforts to protect and support all children to stop the cycle of abuse. Now therefore, I, Juan Rodriguez Jr., County Judge for Jimwills County, do hereby proclaim April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and encourage all residents to join me in renewing our commitment to prevent child abuse and increase our participation in supporting families. So today, on this day, April 2021, we proclaim Child Abuse Month. Any comments, commissioners? Anything?
I make a motion. We would proclaim Child Abuse Prevention Month.
2021, right?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Yes, we have somebody up here. Okay. So we passed the motion. We've read the proclamation, and would somebody with Brush Country like to say something?
Yes, please. Can you hear me over Zoom?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank you very much for reading the proclamation today. We are working very hard in Jim Wells County to recruit more volunteers to advocate for abused and neglected kids in the community. We are currently seeking volunteers to help children and families and support them as they journey through the foster care system. We will be hosting a volunteer training starting next month. So we encourage the residents of Jim Wells County to reach out to the CASA office so that we can train you to stand up for kids in our community. During April for Child Abuse Awareness Month, we will be putting out a series of videos on our social media, talking to representatives from the communities and volunteers about how CASA really makes a difference in the community. So you can keep an eye out for that. We will be featuring 2 citizens of Jim Wells County in our volunteer portion of the video. So thank you again for the proclamation, and we really appreciate you, and we're really looking forward to working hand in hand with Jim Wells County to save our kids.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you Monday.
Yes, sir, I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, commissioners. We'll do a video to promote. A video we're gonna do to produce, to promote to the community and get everybody involved a little bit more. Call you about that so you can see that. Okay. Agenda item number 10, presentation for NG Resources LLC by Mika Forney. Okay, Mr. Forney, do we have Mr. Forney here?
Is she on Zoom?
Should be.
Robert, is she on Zoom?
No. NG Resources LLC by Mika Forney, no? Okay. You had requested to be on the agenda. This is regarding our.
We go to the next one and.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go back to the next presentation by Reliant Energy Representative Cynthia Luna. Well, they submitted their proposals for the electrical, but.
Looks like this would be a good fit for you, so I'm just finding.
Wow. Do we have a presentation by Tradition Energy Representative?
713.
Yes, yes, we're here. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. Thanks for inviting us to the Commissioners Court today. I've got one of our VPs on the call, Michael Skelton. Michael, you want to say hello?
Is marketing is information. Hello? Who cares about the numbers? Let's show the before and after.
Oh, he might be having some audio issues. But anyways, so we're Tradition Energy. We're the energy advisor for Omnia Partners. That's how we got introduced to Jim Wells County. It's been quite the eventful few months in the Texas electricity market, as you guys are aware. Your incumbent electricity supplier, Intrust, was one of the ones that defaulted and is no longer in business in Texas. After that event, you have now been moved to the provider of last resort, which is not a favorable place to be in. So what we have put in front of you guys is a few pricing reports to move forward with fixed price contracts for Jim Wells that will alleviate any sort of the price volatility that we've seen as a result of the event from last month. Linda Reynolds should have sent each of you our presentation that we'd like to review. I'm happy to walk through that right now. Do you all have that pulled up?
Wow. I heard
Drew, what we have, it's Michael Guerra.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
We're picking up a lot of background chatter. It sounds like from your side.
Okay, I'll make sure to tell people to quiet down. I apologize.
No problem.
I think that should be better. Can you hear me now?
Sure.
Okay. Did y'all get everything that I said earlier?
Can you speak to us a little bit about the fixed price that, the average fixed price that you're providing, that you're presenting, or?
Sure. So the first pricing report that we have in our packet is, I'll kind of start at the top because you've never seen one of them before, but it has all of your customer information at the top of the page. It has your account information also, AEP, which is the utility, Where pricing zone is ERCOT, which is the Texas electricity grid operator. You have 42 ESIs on your contract. Your estimated volume is about 903,000 kilowatt hours a year. If you go down a little bit in the meat of the pricing report, we go to all of the qualified suppliers in the marketplace to get you the best price what you're looking for. We have options anywhere from 12 to 60 months. On the left side of the page, it has the electricity suppliers that we have gone to. We vet our suppliers every year. We look at their financials, their Public Utility Commission complaint histories, their billing systems, and these are the qualified suppliers in the marketplace that are here to compete for your business. I have two reports. The first report is a fixed pricing report. The one caveat to this one is congestion charges, which on this pricing report are passed through to you. If you go to the next page, it's called pricing to the load zone. Congestion charges will be included with the price of the commodity. So it's a little expensive. It's a risk to you guys. It's if you want the most conservative budget contract, you should go with the fixed price to the load zone contract. But if you want to take on a little more risk, you can price your electricity contract to the hub and pass through congestion charges. We saw, just to give you an example of what congestion charges are, we saw them spike last summer when the hurricane rolled through South Texas and damaged some of the infrastructure. There was a considerable amount of congestion charges that if you're on a price to the hub contract would have been passed through to you. So that's an example of what congestion is. If you guys are looking for, like I said, for the most budget certainty, we would suggest going with a fixed price to the load zone, which is the second pricing report that I sent to you guys.
Commissioners, do you have any questions on these prices and the term of the contract and the different options that we may have? Of course, this is just a presentation, so we can.
And I apologize. Michael Skelton was having some audio issues. He's one of our VPs in the Houston office. I think he's up and running now. So Michael, you want to say hello?
Yeah, sorry for the delay there. I think I was just muted a different way. But wanted to offer to answer any questions you might have about passing congestion through versus fixing it. And then another thing to point out here, the key commercial terms you'll find under these offers, swing percentage payment terms, those are all flexible, and we can coordinate with you guys if extended payment terms are something that you would prefer as a county. That'd be pretty typical, so just let us know. But we were pretty excited with these results, so wanted to get your thoughts if this makes sense. If you have any questions about what we've been seeing in the market recently, it's been a very hectic several weeks to be in the Texas electricity and natural gas markets, as I'm sure you can imagine. So any questions you might have, we're here to answer. We were brought in by your public program, so we're here to be a resource.
I have a question. Based on last year's usage and the proposed rates, we're kind of in the middle of the year, so we already have this expenditure budgeted for this whole year, not knowing, of course, that Entrust was going to go under, or so with the proposals that are before us that you've brought us, would we still be within what we paid last year to Entrust?
So we have not are not aware of the rate that you are currently on with Entrust. I can't answer that question.
Okay, I thought when we gave you the authorization, so you just got usage. You didn't have our rate.
No.
Right. Okay, so no way to calculate what we paid last year. I guess we could check with the auditor on that and see what our total expenditure was for 2020 and compare that. We could project that out based on what did you say, 903,000 kilowatt hours per year?
Right.
That's right, and I think it's a good idea. You're touching on a critical piece as far as planning goes. COVID, of course, impacted usage likely across most of these facilities, certainly the larger ones. So going back, and I think we can work with you guys to do that this rate is going to protect you. It's not like a take or pay arrangement. So your bills are going to be the kilowatt hours you use times this rate. And that means that usage changes are going to be the biggest driver in changes in your budget. So this 903, if we look at your historical before that, you guys are over 1 million kilowatt hours. So that's more than a 10% difference in usage. This rate versus the supply arrangement that we do not have a full 12-month budget. If you guys have that, we can help you calculate what the difference would be. I think our bigger question is going to be, how is usage coming back this upcoming summer when we're not seeing the same impact from COVID? And the other piece is your delivery charges from the utility. Those, I don't think that's a budget conversation for 2021, but we're going to need to pay attention to that for really 22 and 23, because a lot of their charges are based on your previous year's peak demand. Well, that's probably low too. So that's what's going to be used to calculate a lot of your 21 charges. So when 21 comes back up, that new peak that you are likely going to be setting, especially at some of the larger meters, that's going to impact your 22 budgets. So all of this is part of our regular communication that we're going to be providing the county so that you can plan accordingly. It's also how we can help and find ways to improve the situation, driving costs down wherever available whenever we see something that gets out of whack. I'd imagine that you guys are also, generally speaking, going to become more efficient users over time. Just getting routine maintenance, new equipment typically is going to be better than what you had before. So balancing all of that out is part of what we're going to communicate, how that's impacting usage, which ultimately drives the budgets as well. But from the rate standpoint, this is going to establish really kind of a baseline where we're not going to be subject to additional volatility due to market movements on an hourly basis. So I think that's going to really help flatten out your budgeting versus carrying exposure to the market or some of these other components that do have the risk of changing materially. So this is, I think we're going to be able to provide tighter budgets that we're going to be updating with you at least on a quarterly basis then moving forward. So kind of a long-winded answer, but hopefully that provides a little clarity.
Yeah. Mr. Thornton, so if we could provide you a history, somewhat of an average on a regular year, and some of those figures as far as rate.
Yes. We can help you with budgets moving forward. Is that what your question is?
We'll compile that information, rate from the historical or previous year on a regular year, an average year. I know that we can compare that to our last COVID year.
Yes, we can help you. Yes, change the budget if you need to.
We'll get all that information together, and of course, thank you for breaking this down here. And then, as far as looking at a fixed rate as opposed to what was the other option that we had?
They're both fixed price options. Just the difference between the two: one, congestion charges are passed through to you on your bill, and the other one, the second pricing report, the congestion charges are fixed with the price of the commodity.
And to maybe help clarify.
Other than hurricanes, when do those congestion surcharges come into play?
That's a great question. And it can happen anytime. The hurricane was a big event that caused big increases. It's really a result of the transmission infrastructure between you're in the south zone, which is one of 4 zones across ERCOT. So differences in balancing supply and demand between the zones. You usually see this become a bigger risk when there's a lot of growth. So the electricity infrastructure is going to lag behind the demand growth. And we see this when like oil and gas operations start really ramping up, and they're trying to pull as much oil out of the ground as possible, that's a huge power demand for Texas markets. And that's where you'll start seeing those get increased. So really it's just when demand is growing faster than the infrastructure and the supply can keep up with it. In the South Zone specifically, there are some additional challenges to not just storms and that kind of a thing, but there are transmission lines that go across the border to Mexico, and there's growing demand. We're exporting natural gas via pipeline to Mexico, which is also used for the same thing we use it here, power generation. So there's growing demand. So we expect this to be, a risk. It's a risk. And I just don't know that looking at the difference in rates, I think that this is, good value insurance, basically, to shed exposure to that risk, to tighten up the budgets and have a better idea of what those budget numbers are going to be. The biggest piece is, of course, the commodity itself. And we know from a historical perspective, even after February, looking forward, prices are still low based on, what we've seen in the past. So I think the county's in a position to shed a lot of risk. Fortunately, the market's doing a lot of work for us as on the commodity side of things. And we do foresee congestion to be a more significant risk in the South Zone specifically. If it's a higher number that you'll sign, which I know is not everybody's favorite, but I think there's good value there to shed that additional exposure.
Well, and we work on an annual budget, so we've got to try to plan 12 months at a time. I think so. It's what I'm hearing from you is, if we want to avoid the risk, well, it sounds like there's really it's really a no-brainer to go with option 2. Then is that right? Option 2 is the one that has no congestion risk built into it, correct?
Correct.
That's right. And then from there, it's what term length is the county comfortable with. Oftentimes we will, if you want to take action, let us do our job and get the best possible option for you. So if you'd like to approve a term length and a number at or below what you see on the reports is how we would advise taking action on it, so that we can go back and see if we can do a little better. Might as well.
Right. And just to kind of let you know the sense of urgency, these have a April 1st, 2021 start date. You guys are on the provider of last resort. Like I said earlier, it's not going to be a favorable rate for you. So we suggest doing, these numbers change every day. So these prices are good for today. We would suggest trying to find a term that you're comfortable with, and whoever's approved to sign this agreement, signing it today or Monday, just so we can hold these prices at where they are.
Judge, we got an email from Ms. Reynolds this morning about disconnect notices for Monday. I'm hearing Drew and Mr. Skeleton say we can't start till April 1st. What's our situation there? I didn't know about that.
Extension that they provided us through tomorrow. So we're gonna have to move on this. We got about 3 days before we need to make a decision pretty quick, and we're gonna have to come to terms with this thing here pretty fast because of the change in rates and obviously that provider that we had that currently we're with, that is not going to be in our best interest because the rates are not fixed or anything. We don't have no agreement. So this presentation is pretty good here. The other two providers, the two other presentations that did not come through, I'm not sure about that, but I'm comfortable right now with being able to turn and make take some action right now, so we can provide you with those numbers, so we can determine a term, a time, or we can determine that rate in the term, so we can fix that. We can have an idea more or less, so we can work with our budget, within our budget. So we'll provide you what you're requesting. And yeah, we do need to move on this pretty quick, and we need to take action here today, so we don't have any interruptions.
Well, and that's my question. Maybe Noe can answer. There was some issues about a deposit, and Are we gonna be okay, Noe, between, if we approve something today and they don't start till April 1st, are we gonna be covered through Wednesday?
Yes, I talked to Linda, and Linda had asked for an extension, and she had told them that we were gonna get these presentations today, and that as far as I know, we're gonna be okay, but we do need to make a decision today and get that going, because we do have all of those disconnection notices.
And accounts, every account, because that provider we had completely went under, so that's why we're under the gun. But of course, that's across the board for a lot of different entities here. So this is something that came up, and we're gonna have to move on it quick, so there won't be any interruptions. So, Mr. Thornton, or commissioners, do we want to take action on this? What's that?
It'll be the next
Can you,
item.
can you see if there's anybody else on the phone?
Yeah.
Just presentations.
I have one of the presenters that said that they would not be able to be on our teleconference today, and the other one, there's no response.
You wanted to speak on number 13 whenever you had one.
Yes, okay, sure. The energy provider, okay, we'll do that. We'll get to that point right now. What we'll do is, we'll move on and leave this open. Mr. Thornton, if you can hang on for a bit, and I'm gonna jump over to agenda item number 13. Okay. Okay, so commissioners, do we have any objections to moving on to 13? Do we have that presentation? Leave that one open.
Our presentation
That's
until we
another
get to 14.
presentation.
Yes, 13. Let me do that right now at this time. Agenda item number 13, and open that one up. Discuss and consider selection of new energy provider for Jim Wells County. Sir?
Thank you. And I have 3 minutes, so I'll be quick and I'll be brief. My name is Javier Gonzalez. I'm with Texas Association of School Boards.
Yes, sir.
We provide buy board for y'all. Y'all been a member of buy board for several years.
Mhm.
This past year, this past year, you processed about 250 purchase orders through our company. And we are getting to Mr. Gomez's office. We sent a check for $570 as a rebate. We are a nonprofit. You all use buy board, but we also have the TASB Energy Cooperative. If you were to complete this form, Judge, and give it a couple, 2 months of your bills, we'll give you a price. You, with no obligation on your part. We understand you're under urgency, but we could start at the end of the term that you select at this point in time. From my perspective, just know that we can give you a price, and it's not a situation where we're saying, you know, it's like we're for profit. We're not. We only deal with governmental entities. We have about 400 governmental entities that we provide electricity to. And our approach is very simple. Here's an option for you. The other things that we provide when we provide the electricity is unlimited swing. You use more power than projected, there's no increase in price. You use less, there's no increase in price. Also, if you add meters or you delete meters, there's no cost for that. We're an all service entity like we are with Byboard. We do the same thing with our TASB Electric Co-op. Now, one other thing under the heading of Byboard, and I heard issues with regard to the facilities. We offer facility assessments. And these are all above board. We go through your facilities to see what can be done to contain your electricity, gas cost. So that's something also that I would like for y'all to consider, separate of the electricity, is an assessment of what you have here so that we can provide you the best options for you. And there are options. There's no obligation on your part to go through us. We provide you that information. And with that, I don't know if you'll ask questions of public comments. I'm here to answer that, and thank you very much, and hope you'll consider getting that form completed so we can give you a price.
Yes, sir, Mr. Gonzalez. Commissioners, do we have any questions for Mr. Guerra for Mr. Gonzalez?
We can.
Associated School Board, no? I was just, since it's a presentation and we have any questions, we could open it. Since we're in a crunch right now, we're in a crunch. We will fill this out. I will.
Michael, since he's not in the agenda, does that affect anything?
Well, he's not on the agenda. We don't, you know, he contacted us after we had posted. And so we you know, giving an authorization wasn't really going to help. And then we got we've got this other issue with the disconnect notices. I sure don't mind hearing everybody's offer and seeing who's going to give us the best deal. We're just kind of in a time crunch right now through no fault of our own.
Mr. Michael, could we just authorize ourselves to go ahead and proceed to negotiate with these so we can move on and lock something in, and we can consult with the commissioners, but to authorize me to move forward so we can, and yourself, so we can negotiate with these companies? Or we would have to resubmit something else again, I mean.
Well, you know, the agenda item says for us to consider selection. What is it you're proposing, like, for the motion to be to authorize you to negotiate and make a deal with whoever you think gives us the best price, or
best offer and price, so we can start negotiating and providing the information so we can get all entities to be able to.
Or the other option is to go with the one that's on the table for just 1 year, and then we can always, you know, consider TASB's offer. I just you know, worry about the if we had 2 weeks, you know, it would be different.
And from our perspective, we're here to help.
Right.
You know, we'll work any way that you all want, but we're here long term.
And we appreciate that offer because we can still do the assessment of all our entities, but in the meantime, we're in that crunch, you understand? So we gotta go into some kind of agreement here.
So can you repeat what you said?
For us to go
Michael?
ahead and go with that company.
If we, you know, we got offers on the table for a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year term. I wouldn't recommend more than 2, but if you want, you can do a 1 year, and that'll give, and you know, we're not tying ourselves long term. I mean, it's going to cost a little bit more because there'd be a discount in the second year if we do a 24-month term, but it's let me see. Looks like about a $3,000 savings.
I think that's a significant, but in the circumstances and the predicament we're in right now, and you know.
And maybe Drew is that monthly?
Yeah, so to touch on kind of how the pricing is structured right now, we're in a backward dated market, meaning the longer term you can look, the lower your prices will be starting April 1st of this year. So we suggest going as long term as you're as comfortable as you are, because it will lower your price starting April 1st, 21.
And I think it's worth mentioning, so how we'll approach this, regardless of what term you go. So the market being backwardated, what that just means is the further out you look, the lower the rates are. You see that reflected in prices. The further out the start date for the contract is also, the lower the rate will be. So right now, let's say you do the 24-month at 4.6. So we look at where the 36-month is, for example, and we're at 4.49. So that gives us about a little more than 1/10 of a penny is, you know, quote unquote, the opportunity cost. So we need to, on the subsequent renewal, more than capture that back, so that we should expect 1/10 of a penny plus in savings at a minimum on the next renewal. So that's how we're going to look at it, and how we're going to be monitoring the market on your behalf and keeping you informed on market conditions moving forward. So regardless of the term, that I think is a good way to think about the more risk management side of it, as well as, you know, the budget control piece of it. The market doesn't always, you know, go down every single contract, right? So if it does go the other way on us, we want to make sure that you guys are well in front of any potential changes to that budget and fully informed as to what's driving it. So right now we're having the fun, you know, expect savings conversation. If that does change, given everything that we're seeing in the marketplace, we'll keep you informed and well in advance of any potential changes. So just wanted to add to that.
Mr. Guerra.
Yes, sir.
Why is it that this gentleman's here is through buy board and we can't hear what he's got to offer?
It's not on the agenda.
I know it's not on the agenda item, but when you buy something through buy board, you don't have to go through bids or anything. It's already through buy board. They've already done all the work.
Yeah, but I don't know that he's got a proposal for us yet. I think that's what he needed. He needed the data to be able to run that.
Right. And then that's this form. You give me this form, we'll give you the information, and then it's your call whether you want to use it or not.
How long will it take?
In terms of, you get it us today, we could have you a number by late afternoon on Monday, or for sure by Tuesday.
It'll be too late, no, Mike?
No, because we've got the disconnect says the 29th, but I guess we just need to enter into a contract by April 1st. If y'all want, you can, I mean, you can authorize, the agenda item says selection of new energy provider. If you want, if your motion is to authorize and delegate that to the judge to make that decision after he hears from the TASB proposal, then, you know, just make sure that you, if you delegate that to the judge, give an end date, that it's got to be done by a certain date. That way TASB knows they've got to get us that data quickly so that the judge can make an informed decision.
And if we can't get it, right, if we can get it to you, then you get to move. We're here as a partner. We're not a vendor, we're a partner.
No, we understand
Because we're gonna have to pick someone. We got to make a decision.
Right.
And
only for the record, I know you mentioned, Mr. Gonzalez, that even at this point that you still can do assessment for us regarding other matters of savings.
That would be buy board. Our co-op, we give you a price on electricity. Through buy board, we give you an assessment of your facilities, and we'll do that.
On our facilities, okay. Well,
Can we
in
do
the
that?
meantime,
We'll authorize the judge to
enter into an agreement.
to an agreement after.
How else can we do it so we can move forward?
I have a question for, how many electricity suppliers would the TASB group be bringing to the table?
One
Electricity supplier. Okay, and it's Direct Energy, who we do business with. They declined to participate in this RFP today, but we have 7 electricity suppliers participating on our pricing platform. That's, you know, everyone knows increased competition is going to drive down everybody's costs. So, you know, if we wait, these numbers might not be there. And what you're saying is you're going to go with, you know, let one electricity supplier see if they can beat, you know, what we currently have in front of you versus the, you know, the 7 that we presented to you today. Just something to keep in mind.
I think I'd like to hear what he's got to say.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Give the opportunity, give you the authorization to go ahead and deal with this until he brings the information and then you decide.
I understand, and yeah, and
You've
like you
already
said,
heard
we're
the
dealing with
side,
one
we're
provider
here to
that you're
decide.
dealing with, as opposed to shopping around and being able to, and we understand that it's a nonprofit, and I'm willing to look at that and provide this information so you can come back to us from that one provider.
Lunas.
And also, had you done any, just a question, had you provided any services to the county before? Regarding electric or
only through
proposed
buy board.
anything?
And we have not provided electricity services to county.
Never been proposed?
No, we've provided to Alice ISD, that's one of our accounts.
Client, yeah.
And so is Kingsville ISD, Santa Gutierrez, those are our partners.
Okay.
And as I say, all our clients are nonprofit. And if you want to go with that one, we'll still be here for buy board, so it's not a matter of.
Have an option.
Sure, well, yeah, and that's exactly what he was saying, that this gentleman here, Mr. Thornton's got about 6 different providers they're negotiating with, and
So anyway, you can
competition
have
comes-
something for us on Monday and.
right, that we can consider.
Yes, bring it forward to the judge and then from there he'll make the decision.
This takes a lot more detail, a lot
So,
more, looking at the particulars.
Michael, and because it's not on the agenda, can we still give the judge today authorization?
yes. Yes, you're selecting, but basically your motion will be to authorize the judge to make the selection after he gets the information. But I think you need to put
Michael, I'm sorry. Do we need to put a date that he finishes up by Monday or something, so we have a?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And, you know, you're going to have to make a decision by Tuesday, I think, at the latest, Judge.
Yes, sir. That's why we're here. Yeah, because like I said, this stuff came up and our provider before went under, and we're left, not only ourselves, this entity, but others that this provider left hanging in the wind that went under. So this is no fault of our own, like I
So
said.
Monday's the 29th.
Right.
So it'll be Tuesday. You said Tuesday, no, Mike?
Yeah, Tuesday the 30th.
Table this meeting for an emergency meeting on Tuesday or Monday.
No, we can give him.
We just authorize the judge.
We could post today and have a meeting on Tuesday.
And that way we get everybody's, and they can.
That would be better. I think that would be better. Drew, are we, if we go with one of your proposals, will that still be enough time to get it in place by the 1st?
Yes. I mean, like I said, these numbers are executable today. That changes every day. It's not going to be substantially different on Tuesday, but we will have enough time to draft a contract and get it to you for signature on Tuesday.
Okay, that sounds like the solution then. Let's go ahead and post a meeting for 10 a.m. on Tuesday. That gives Mr. Gonzalez time to get his proposal in, and then the commissioner's court as a whole can approve it rather than delegating it to the judge.
That sounds good.
Okay, so Linda can post that today, and it'll still be plenty of time for 72 hours notice.
Michael, can Noe provide the history of our usage?
There's a form that we signed for the other group. I signed it because that's when, yeah, we can sign that. Mr. Gonzalez, do you have that form?
As a matter of fact, I gave one to the judge and I electronically sent one to Miss Reynolds. So if I can if you can send me to her office to get the information, if you'll sign that one right there, I'll walk up there with her and we'll get it done.
Okay, then we'll do that. Mr. Thornton, are you still on there, Drew?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you'll be available for any questions or anything else?
Sure. And we'd like to be on the call on Tuesday. Would that be at 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We will have we'll be ready for the call on Tuesday. So look forward to talking again.
Meeting's on Monday.
No, we can't do it Mondays unless you do want to meet in the afternoon. But Mr. Gonzalez said that he wouldn't have the data until Monday afternoon.
Oh, Monday afternoon, okay.
Tuesday would be probably fine, so that way you can give you some time to correct. Yes. Okay. All right, so
we're gonna table
Commissioners,
this?
let's table agenda items. I guess
Number 13.
let's do.
We table it with the option, to say that we're going to have an emergency meeting on Tuesday to.
It's not an emergency meeting. It's a special meeting.
Oh, it's a special.
Right. Right. We're doing 72 hours notice. So it's just a special meeting. It's not emergency is a different procedure.
And we'll set for Tuesday. You could set that whatever time it is going to be.
I'll make a motion to table item number, what was it, 13?
13.
We could possibly have that information in the morning.
I'm gonna leave right now, go see Ms. Reynolds and get started.
Okay.
If we have it on hand on.
Right down the hallway to the left. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time, sir. The presentation. Mr. Thornton, thank you all for your time and your presentation and for all and Mr. Guerra, thank you, sir, for directing this. And it's a lot of negotiation, a lot of particulars and the rates and then the different terms. So we're gonna have to consider all of that. It's not an easy task, but we're under the gun because no fault of our own because of that ERCOT where they dropped the ball and left us hanging. So.
Yep.
Anything else?
Michael, will these be the only two providers for Monday?
Number 13.
I think that's what we're down to. It's the one that Mr. Thornton brought and the one Mr. Gonzalez is going to bring. And after the meeting, I'll get with Ms. Reynolds, but it's probably going to be very similar to the wording we had today.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. We have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. All righty. We'll move on to this. Agenda item number 14, discuss and consider approval of Jim Wells County procedure for grant payments.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. This is Roxy Sandoval with GrantWorks.
Good morning, Roxy.
Good morning. This procedure that we have before you today is a document that's in coordination with the Harvey mitigation grant that the county submitted back in September. We recently received from the GLO a request for information, which we call an RFI. And that RFI requested some additional information for that application, and we had to submit it within 24 hours. So one of the items that was addressed in that RFI has to do with this procedure for grant payments. So although we submitted back in September all of the county policies and procedures that have to do with any kind of financial procedures or procurement procedures, Mr. Noe Gomez helped us submit all the policies for the county to the GLO. The GLO has come back and wants to ensure that there's a specific language complying with federal 2 CFR 200. And so I've checked with Mr. Gomez and we went ahead and put this on the agenda today. Although he's pretty confident that y'all's procedures in place right now have covered this type of situation, the GLO wants to see specific language that has to do with 2 CFR 200. So with that said, this document is brought before you today so that we can satisfy the grant. And just an added note, there was hundreds and hundreds of applications submitted to the GLO for this mitigation money. So getting an RFI for Jim Wells County is a really, really big step because it means that we are on to the next level of review. And not a whole lot of applications went to the next level of review. So that's really good news. It's not an award yet, but we have our fingers crossed if y'all want to light some candles and say some prayers for that money. It's a $9.7 million drainage project for the Rancho Alegre, K-Bar and Alice Acre area of Jim Wells County. So with that said, we recommend approval.
Commissioners Court, this is Noe. I just want to say that we did set everything in. This is a procedure that needs to be put on there. And I recommend that we put it into our language for the payments. That way this grant can be moved forward. Thank you.
Judge, I make a motion to accept item number 14 is presented.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Rox.
Thank you, Roxy, for your help. Everything you've done. Okay. And Noe, thank you, sir, for providing all the information and suggesting that. Okay. Agenda item number 15, presentation, discuss the partnership with Coastal Plains MHMR, including the jail diversion program, which has now gone on for a couple of years, and inform the court that Coastal Plains has applied for a block grant that would reimburse all expenses and allow the sheriff's office to hire 3 additional officers. These 3 additional officers at no cost to ourselves, at no cost to the county for 2 years. Commissioners?
Judge, this is Sheriff. Congratulations again from TAC and congratulations to SOSA from TAC. I'd like to give you some background on this Coastal Plain MHMR that has been a partner for Jim Wells County for several years now. The current program, called the Jail Diversion Program, is one of very few in the state of Texas that have been recognized in assisting the sheriff's offices regarding the mental health issues. Jim Wells County provides an office space for the jail, from the jail that is, and we have an individual assigned to see the inmates who are first-time offenders who may need help, including medication, counseling, and whatever they can to hopefully divert from that returning to jail or leading to a better life and a productive life with their illness. The county is reimbursed approximately $4,800 each month over the last several years for the expense of such mental transportation as well as doctor visits. So it's been a plus for Jim Wells County and plus for our department with $4,800 each month that we participate in this program. This new grant would allow the reimbursement of up to 3 new officers at no expense to the county. The grant allows for salary as well as all fringe benefits, uniforms, and materials that the officers might need. The grant lasts 2 full years, at which time the Coastal Plains would reapply just as they have for the diversion program that we have in place. The goal is to become a model county when it comes to assisting those in need of the crisis and mental health. The officer will be sent to specialized training to deal with the crisis in mental health persons, which is something that is increasing in our country. And I think this is a wonderful program that will be coming to our area. We're very pleased to announce that if this does go through, I know that there's thousands and thousands of dollars available to mental health. I've met with the organization 2 weeks ago. So definitely a plus for Jim Wells County and our residents.
Sheriff, thank you for that clarification. And also, I'd like to thank the Sheriff for being real involved with MHMR and JJ Johnson, our local office, and making yourself available and continuing that program with that individual. And hopefully we'll get these 3 additional officers at no cost to the county, and from all the hard work that you've provided to with MHMR and working with them. And thank you for stepping up on that, Sheriff, to the board there.
I have a question. With everything being okay by Commissioner's Court, do we have a timeline when this officer would be coming in? Because we need to set everything up on the financial on this side.
It'd be early September, middle of September. That's my information of this morning. So, and again, I also want to congratulate my administration for helping me out with this presentation, as well as what we're seeking. So, kudos to them.
Thank you.
Noe, did you get your answer to your question?
Yes, he said September they would be more or less, and that's, I just want to be ready for when it comes up, as long as you're all okay.
Okay, no, we're good with that. But Sheriff, again, thanks again for working with MHMR directly. I know that you've stepped up there many times. Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept item number 15, Judge, as presented.
All right, I have a motion on the floor.
It's a presentation.
Oh,
Okay, this presentation, discuss a partnership, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a presentation.
Okay, we're getting, all right, we approved it anyway. We're good. Thank you, Sheriff, for that presentation.
Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff.
All right.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 16, consider and take action to designate school zone speed limits on portions of Elaine, Hector, Guerra, and Southwest 3rd Streets that lie outside the jurisdiction of the city of Fremont.
Judge, this is in Fremont, where we have the dividing line between the city and the county, and it incorporates into their side. They did it already in their city council meeting.
Okay.
So they're just asking us to approve it through, so we can put the signs on our side.
Okay, to designate.
It's
the schools.
basic information, and
Okay.
just around the school district.
Commissioners, any questions regarding the speed?
motion
to approve. Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
And a second.
Well, you need to set the limit.
The speed
20
limit
miles
is
I think it's 20, right?
It's on there.
It's okay.
It's on there, Mike.
It's on
Okay.
there.
County Jail containing finding fact of designated school zone setting 20-mile-per-hour speed limit.
Okay, so it's to approve the attachment then.
Attachment that was to the.
They had sent us the model ordinance that they used.
So for the record, 20 miles an hour, correct?
Yep.
20.
Yes, sir.
20 miles. So
Motion.
the motion, how do you want to read that motion? That includes the attachment or the 20 mile an hour?
As presented.
That is with the attachment again.
Okay, as presented, we have a motion and a second on the floor, right? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. All righty, that'll help. Agenda item number 17, presentation by Lone Star Ambulance Services. Service One LLC doing business as Allegiance Mobile Health regarding proposal to provide emergency medical services to Jim Wells County. Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
Information I was going to share with you guys this morning.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna drop my mask for a second,
right
just
ahead.
so it's a little bit easier for you guys to hear me. No, sometimes those things make you a little muffled. Appreciate your time this morning. My name is Dan Gillespie. I am the Chief Operating Officer for Allegiance Mobile Health. We are the provider for the city of Alice right now, as you guys may know, and we're acutely aware of the current situation you guys are in with your current provider, and wanted to come before you guys today and discuss who we are, what we have to offer, and how we may be able to help bridge any potential shortfalls in EMS coverage for the residents.
Thank you for being here.
I also brought with me Stephanie Roth, our vice president.
Welcome.
So just a couple things. Our core mission in this partnership with you guys would be to make sure that we increase the EMS resources in the community, reduce the response times, I know we're being tasked with sending our Alice units out into the county more and more, from some coverage issues from the current provider. So, we know that is causing delays to the county residents to getting quick access to ambulances. Luckily, our partners at Alice have been letting that happen. But obviously, we'd like the opportunity to put more ambulances out into the county to prevent having to take from one and give to the other. So
We want to thank you for that.
yeah, anytime. And we've helped with your vaccine drives. I know you guys have been in a few jams with the vaccine drives. Orange Grove schools got into a bind with some school coverage for some EMS events, and we've been more than happy to go and send resources out there. So we're already deeply invested in the community now, and want to continue that. We also take really good care of our staff. We want to improve the pay and benefit structure that the EMS staff have, and one of the benefits with Allegiance is the size. We have excellent career mobility for the staff that works for us. Just an example, one of our supervisors, who was a paramedic on a truck in this area a number of years ago, is now a regional director in San Antonio. So in a span of 4 years, he went from being a paramedic on a truck to now being a regional director of one of our larger areas and running a big 911 system up in the San Antonio market. So we have really neat stories like that all throughout the company. But our staff has not only great access to pay and benefits, but some really great career advancement. And sometimes in the smaller EMS companies, and I certainly was in the same position in the beginning of my career, being with a small provider. I left because the upward mobility just wasn't there. And a lot of people are motivated by continuing your education and continue to benefit yourself. So I think that's one of the really neat things that we have to offer for the staff that works with us. And then obviously maintain the highest quality of clinical care that your citizens can get. So I think if you look at the technologies that we provide, and the clinical training, the clinical advanced protocols that we have, you'll find that your citizens are going to get the very best care possible. So I'll quickly answer the who, what, and where of Allegiance. On page 3, it gives you a map of where all of our stations are at. So as you can see, we have a very large coverage area throughout the state. We have about 1,000 EMTs and paramedics that work for us. We have around 300 vehicles throughout the state. And one of the things that we're most proud of is we operate 911 services in 20 different counties, covering right around 16,000 square miles of the state. So we have a lot of density and a lot of expertise in providing the service. We're certainly not in over our heads when I tell you we can provide the citizens with the very best care. So one of the things that makes us a great partner, and one of the reasons that we've been picked by more municipalities over the last 4 years when they're up for bid or considering renewals, is that we combine the very best practices of public and private partnerships. So where cities, you look at Dallas Fire Departments or some of the larger cities that are running their own, they have some great practices that oftentimes a city of Alice may not want to take on the burden of that cost. But we come in and we partner with Alice and we build an EMS model that's a public-private partnership. So when you see those Alice ambulances, a lot of people don't realize that they're actually owned by us, and those are our staff members on board. Chief Thomas has direct oversight on what we're doing and the quality. He sees it day to day. There is absolute transparency. And a lot of times when you see private EMS contracts struggling in a community, it's because of the lack of transparency. It's because there's a disconnect between what's going on in the field and what the governing body of the municipality may know. And we don't do that. We work very, very hard to be the absolute most transparent operation that you can have and partner with you guys. Most of our 911 services operate under some type of a governing board where you guys would select, who you want from your key stakeholders. And we meet with them monthly. We go through all of the response times. We go through any of the community services. We go through the vaccine clinics, the school events, any training with the fire departments, the sheriff's departments, any of our first responder partners. what we've done to give back and not just be some vendor that you guys hire and forget about. You know, we meet monthly to discuss all those things. This is what we propose in all of our 901 service agreements is what we call a dedicated service agreement and not a system status management. And again, a lot of times when you see trouble in a private 901 agreement, it's because the provider is also trying to use those ambulances to go do non-emergency transports, dialysis, hospital discharges, and things of the like. If you look at the Alice ambulances, they're not doing anything but 911 calls. And when we commit to a 911 district, the resources that are committed are yours. They're not, you're never going to have to call me and say, why was there a delay?
Right.
Where was the ambulance? You'll always know. Our ambulances are GPS tracked through the 911 centers. If the center wants it, our technology is web-based. So, I mean, we could give you guys login and you can even watch the ambulances from your cell phone. So
You're saying that you would only do 911 calls?
only 911 calls, correct. All of our 911 contracts are 911 exclusive. Now we do have a huge fleet, I think 20 ambulances, 15 ambulances over in Corpus at our headquarters that go out and do all the non-emergency work. So if a nursing home in Alice has scheduled transports, we send over ambulances to handle those and wheelchair vans and those kind of things. But they're never you'll never see an Alice Fire Department ambulance running a dialysis non-emergency call and then miss a 911. That's just not what we do. And with that, you'll see an immediate reduction in response times. I think the initial contract that Alice had, they said they needed like 4 or 5 ambulances, but that was because they were going to be doing all this other non-emergency stuff in the process. So when Chief and I sat down, they really only needed 2 based on the call volume. It allowed the city of Alice to shed a costly tax burden to pay for all these other ambulances that actually weren't available for the 901 calls because they were doing all the non-emergency. So what we did was we pared it down to the 2 dedicated 901 ambulances. There was more than enough call volume to offset the cost to operate those ambulances, just those 2. And, the citizens got excellent response time coverage. And, the chief never has to call and say, why was there a 45-minute delay on this ambulance? Where was it? They always know. It also reduces the burnout on the crews. So when you hire new paramedics, they're usually hoping to get onto a 911 truck, get into a fire department setting like what we have. If you run them nonstop, going from a 911 call to 911 call, a hospital discharge to a dialysis call, and they don't have any breaks, the fatigue is overwhelming. There is a massive EMS shortage, EMS employee shortage across not only the state, but across the country. And one of the ways we've helped curb that is, there in that career momentum, you can get onto one of our 911 and know that you're going to be in the fire station or in the county station waiting for 911 calls only. You're not going to go from call to call to call and then a long distance out to San Antonio and come back and then do Corpus transfers. And it really reduces the crew fatigue. So what you see in that is a very low turnover rate. And the medics that are serving your community, are generally the same paramedics and EMTs for years. You're not seeing a revolving door. And many communities are facing that right now, constant revolving door. And then what you get into is people are new and don't know the addresses and don't know all the nuances of the territory that they're serving. So I mentioned on it earlier that we do partner with our fire departments and first responder organizations for training. We make equipment donations, supply donations, training donations to all of our areas to give back every year. And that's something that we would certainly do here as well. On page 6, it gives you a more zoomed in map of what our current area is. And then more specifically, the 901 service areas that we serve. So we have 911 operations in Brooks County, Clayburgh County, here in Alice, San Patricio County, and over in Aransas County, as well as Nueces County and ESD 6 in the unincorporated areas in Nueces County. In San Patricio, we cover the city of Odom, the city of Sinton, the city of Portland, and the city of Taft. So that, like I said, more communities in the area, trust us with their services. And I think if you reach out to any of them, you'll find that we do exactly what we say we're going to do. And we take the protection of the community very, very seriously. Like I said, we cover 8 other counties here in South Texas. And then we have the sole focus on the 911 delivery to help reduce the response times. The other thing that you guys will have access to because of our size is a large volume of resources for hurricane response, mass casualty response. Our mutual aid resources around you, I think, are second to none. We just have a very, very large cache of resources that you guys can tie into, or any of your residents can tie into in the event of a disaster. Our technology platform, I put a couple of pieces on that. We certainly don't have to go over it today, but I can answer any questions you have. Our technology platform is very advanced. It allows us to directly connect with physicians in the ERs and do things like monitor all of our ambulances, the routes through our GPS system. So it's down to the street level. If a crew is lost or turned around, our dispatch center is able to give them turn-by-turn directions in live feed, which obviously helps speed the report. And then, like I said, any of our data that's being transmitted, you guys can get simply from your phone. So if there's ever a question, we can give you guys access to it, or any of your stakeholders access to this information to help improve the transparency. We review the contracts you guys are operating under right now based on making sure that there's adequate coverage in Orange Grove and down in Piedmont, and increasing the coverage here in the city of Alice. The subsidy, we're okay with the subsidy. We wouldn't ask for an increase of what you guys are paying right now. The subsidies are generally only requested when you have ambulances in further reaching areas with a lower density of population. So it offsets the cost of readiness. Each ambulance runs $300,000 to $400,000 a year to operate. So those tax subsidies really help offset. So if you look at our pricing in Clayburgh and Brooks and San Patricio, you'll find that you guys are in line with what's being charged for similar services, similar call volumes, patient volumes in other areas. Alice was in a very unique position to be able to reduce their subsidy down to 0 because they dropped the number of ambulance requirement down to 2, and the ambulances, the turnaround times being only in the city are very, very quick. So we go out to a residence in the city of Alice, get them into Spawn Alice Hospital, and the ambulance is back in service within 15 minutes of the call. So there's not long transport times to get them across to
large distances.
Yeah, and obviously in any venture, time is money. So when you take an ambulance out of a district, you're leaving that district exposed. We have an excellent contingency plan. Stephanie just added. So we were running into this issue down in Brooks County where there's not a hospital. So every time they go to transport, they have to leave the county. The call volume was lower, so we couldn't afford to really add another ambulance to dedicate to the 911 system. But Spawn Clayburgh has helped us give us some of the transfers to help offset some of the cost of that truck. And Stephanie and her team have added another paramedic ambulance that floats between Clayburgh and Brooks County to help cover that. And I know it's coming here and covered in Alice as well when it gets busy. So that ambulance is really a critical care type 911 floater that they put in. And so we're always looking for unique ways to ensure that there's coverage. We try very, very hard not to rely on mutual aid resources from another community because we don't know what's going on. We don't know, if we're not serving that community, we don't have access to look at their screen, look at their resources at the time. We're just calling over there, fingers crossed, hoping that they have a resource to send. So we take the responsibility of making sure that there's ambulances available from our side at all times very, very seriously. We don't want to put you guys in a situation where you're stealing from one of your neighbors and leaving them uncovered to cover a promise that we made to you. So like I said, we'll continue the Orange Grove, Piedmont coverage, add coverage here and Alice. And then I also gave you a breakdown of how many ambulances are in the surrounding areas that are kind of directly connected to.
When you say representation in the Piedmont and Orange Grove area, what exactly do you mean by that?
So there would be a 24-hour-a-day paramedic level ambulance stationed in those communities 24/7. Yeah, that we'd make sure that they have the highest levels called a mobile intensive care unit, a MICU unit. So they would have MICU units 24/7 in those communities, dedicated stations. And again, like I said, they would not be pulled out to run a nursing home call in Alice or go down and do a Spawn Hospital Clayburgh transport, anything like that. And the kind of last closing remark I'll leave is because of our size and resources in the community and the surrounding areas, we have the ability to assume responsibility immediately. So if we all wake up tomorrow morning and you guys find that the bankruptcy court shut down the current service, there's not a 30-day lag to start our services. You guys can call us and we can be in place same day. And Chief Thomas can attest to that. We got a call at 9 or so in the morning and we were set up by about 1:30.
I can attest to that also. Working with our marshal here.
Yeah.
And with you guys, that y'all have stepped up when we've been left.
Absolutely. So we do have the resource. We wouldn't need any 30-day ramp time. If you guys called us in a pinch and said, hey, we're in dire need, it could happen that day. So we'd be more than happy to do that. So and the contract that I sent over to Mr. Guerrero for review has that option for an immediate escalation of time start date if you guys need to execute that. Otherwise, we can let you guys write out the term of the current agreement if everything goes well. Leave it at that. So
We have options.
If you guys have any questions of me, we'd be happy to answer those.
Commissioners, Mr. Guerra, is he still on with us, Mr. Guerra, Michael?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So our current contract expires at midnight on May 31st. So the proposal as written, is to begin on June 1st or earlier if necessary, because as you know, our current provider is in a bankruptcy proceeding. There was a hearing scheduled this morning. That's what I was doing. I was trying to look up to see if there's been any court action on that. I couldn't find anything, but in other words, if the judge this morning in the bankruptcy proceeding decides to let AirMed continue to operate, then we would play out our contract with them through the end of May, and then switch over with a new provider, whoever you select, beginning June 1st. However, I did ask Mr. Gillespie to add a clause in there that if for some reason that our current provider gets shut down, that they would be ready to assume duties and assume operations earlier.
You guys agreed to. I would be willing, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. So until we get a ruling, we can always, like I said, don't have to wait out the term depending on the results and the ruling of the court. And we'll get some answer and maybe we can do that special meeting if action needs to be taken or we need to enter into agreement with Allegiance, then we'll, depending on the ruling from the court, I guess we will get notice sometime later today about our provider right now, our current provider, what their status is.
Yeah, and if you guys do take action, I think it's the next agenda item. It's already baked into the agreement that you guys would take action on, so I don't think it would require a special meeting at that point. You guys would be able to just call and say,
Call you guys and
we're gonna take the early in option, and then you guys wouldn't be bound by having to call a special meeting to execute because it would already be in the terms that we agree to now. So you guys could execute it anytime.
Dan, one other thing, when we discussed this, you said you guys were willing to go month to month. We're not set for a fixed term.
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah, even that. I mean, it sounds real good to be true, but you've proven
yeah.
Y'all have proven your dedication and your services to the city. So, I mean, we have a lot of options here. This hardly ever happens, but commissioners, do we have any questions regarding the terms and when we can start and the dedicated ambulances we'll have completely with no transportation?
Well, I represent the Fremont area and I speak for Fremont and the Orange Grove area. Is that I just want to make sure that we have representation there at all times because we've had issues in the past and
yes, yeah, and that
we're all like, we're going to be there, and they weren't there. So
yeah, and that is that's something that is specifically laid out in our contract of where those will be, and we also do response time zones in a lot of cases. So once you guys would approve to go into an agreement, we would say, okay, this is the response time requirement for this zone. And there would be an ability for you guys to call the contract if those are ever, if any of that that I've told you turns out to not be true, you'd be able to call in the contract immediately. There isn't anything left to the imagination.
Patrick, would you like to say something?
Mr. Kind of address Mr. Gonzalez's
question or a concern. One of the things, and he's got it in his proposal, and it's a suggestion that I have as well. We do meet regularly. We meet weekly in Alice, but it's we're a little smaller. On a county level, something they do in their other, and Ms. Roth and Dan can attest to it. We have an oversight committee that meets. Sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's quarterly, depending on what the county will fit their needs. But on that committee, you can have representation, maybe somebody from the city of Orange Grove or fire department in Orange Grove, or maybe somebody from Fremont. So you have those different areas that are on that committee that can, if there's a concern, they can work with it. Because I can tell you that if there's ever been any issues, we haven't had very many at all. They're willing to sit down and work through the issues. So when you have an oversight committee like that, it really is more just a working with the company to make sure that we're getting what we've been promised or contracted to do. I think that's important. Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
And Aransas County is a good example of that. So the Aransas County contract has representation from the county judge's office, the town of Fulton, the city of Rockport, the 911 dispatch center, and Holiday Beach. So all of the sub areas of Aransas County are all represented in that board, and they do meet monthly. They have a set meeting on every single month where all those the Sheriff's Department has representation, and as well as the Rockport Police Department on that board as well.
Well, if that doesn't keep the services and the public informed and things running smoothly, what else?
Exactly.
That's a great suggestion.
So like you said, everybody has their
to keep our emergency services transparent as possible and the public too. That way, there's no lag or any questions or confusion surprises. Well, commissioners, do you have any other questions? This is a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Snowy, I had a question. Did I understand that the price is going to be what we're paying the current provider, which is what is in our budget?
Say that again.
The current price that our current provider, I think we had discussed the amount, the price,
Correct.
the annual amount that would stay consistent with what
it will. Yeah.
This isn't everything, all the other services in the dedication.
Okay, thank you very much.
There will be no price change in this. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's what you budget for, correct? Yeah. We're comfortable with what's budgeted for and wouldn't ask for an increase or anything.
Well, thank you for the presentation and your time.
Yeah, thank you guys very much.
Appreciate everything, guys. Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay, we have that presentation. Now we have 18, consider and take action to enter into an emergency medical services agreement with Lone Star Ambulance Service 1 LLC, doing business as Allegiance Mobile Health to provide emergency medical services to Jim Wells County.
We're gonna want to award it.
I don't know if,
Is it
Mr. Guerra, can we consider this and accept this as presented, or do we have to stipulate their?
I think the important points to stipulate are that it will be on a month-to-month basis at the current subsidy of $14,500 per month. Is that correct, Noe?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
And that the provider is committing to providing a 24/7 service in both the Orange Grove and Fremont area.
And let's not forget Alice, right? Alice?
Yeah.
We'll have another unit.
Well, we always get that one. It's the other two that sometimes fall off the. Yeah, it's Orange Grove and Fremont that fall off the map at times.
Yeah, that's already in the contract.
That's already in the agreement, the contract.
Yeah. Okay, we just want to make sure we get coverage in those areas because.
And
until when, Mike? May 1st?
This is going to be on a month-to-month basis, so there's no end date. We can. The other one we were set for a term. I think let's see, December 2018 we signed up and for an extension, and it went through this May. So 1920, we signed up. Last time we signed up for almost 30 months.
That was right before, this term started. There was
Right.
That's either here or there anymore. They've dropped the ball and they've left us hanging. So
I think going month to month gives us the most flexibility because if problems arise, we look for someone else. And if there is no problem, then we just stay how we're going.
We can always, once things get rolling, we can always sit back and back to the negotiating table and look at things. because that's the good thing about the month to month. There's no end date, there's no timeline like everything else.
Yeah, and actually, all of the contracts that we have with our municipal, I think the longest out period is 90 days, but most of them are 30 days anyway. For that reason, because we're confident enough to know that we've never promised anything that we can't deliver.
Right.
But we always give the municipality, a 30-day
flexibility.
Yeah, if they call us on it and say that was a lie,
we couldn't ask for any more.
30, so yeah, we're
This is
comfortable
like
with that.
one of those too good to be true, but y'all are really true and y'all have provided the services. So commissioners, you
Judge, I
want to
make a motion to accept item number 18.
Okay.
With rate of 14,500 per month to a month.
On a month-to-month basis. Yes. Any other stipulations there,
You're right,
Mr.
Mike.
Guerra?
No, that sounds good.
I have a motion.
Effective date. The effective date is June 1st, 2021, unless it becomes necessary to bring them on board earlier.
Okay, effective June 1st, 2021, unless
Or earlier if necessary.
or early if necessary.
Yep.
That should be good enough right there. That should get it all covered. We good, comfortable with that, guys? Okay, we have a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then all those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentation.
Congratulations. Thank you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you all, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner.
For all your help. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right, agenda item number 19, consider and take action to accept the resignation of Dr. Nissenblatt as Jim Health Authority. But we had received a letter there before when we had volunteered. Commissioners? Gonna do this?
We'll let him go, okay?
Judge, I would just like to, on the record, thank Dr. Nissenblatt for stepping up and serving for the time that he did from last summer until now at no cost to the county. He provided a very valuable service. He gave us great advice and I think did an outstanding job. And of course, he feels it's time to move on now. And so if we accept this, we will revert back to the jurisdiction and authority of Dr. Pro, who is the region, I believe it's Region 11, medical director in Harlingen.
Okay, after having said that, Mr. Guerra, we'd like to also thank Dr. Nissenblatt, his Commissioner's Court, and his staff, and all his people that have provided the services, that made themselves available and took the time to take away from his private practice, and working very closely with Dr. Emily Pro, Region 11 Medical Director. So for the record, we'd like to thank the Alice Pediatric Center, which we've done that before, and they've helped a lot with our vaccination out at the fairgrounds, partnering up and helping also be a provider. So a big thank you and kudos to Alice Pediatric Center and Dr. Nissenblatt. Thank you. Yep.
I make a motion to accept the resignation
second.
of Dr. Nissenblatt.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Again, thank you, Dr. Eric Nissenblatt, for your
Thank you
help.
so much.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. Okay. Agenda item number 20, consider and take action to authorize purchase of the 2021 720 XI 260H reclaimer from Asphalt Zipper to be financed through government capital and to be paid from Precinct 4 Road and Bridge Fund.
Judge, I'm trying to purchase this zipper. It's to mulch up at the pavement and the roads. It'll be a lot faster. It's more updated, and I'm going through government capital. And I got three choices here, and if the court will allow me, I got a five annual payments. I mean, it's $276,395, and we got a 5 annual payments of $60,000 at 3.11% fixed, or 7 annual payments at 3.34% fixed. It's 44,923.26 payments, or 10 annual payments at 3.49%, also fixed at $33,229 a year. And if the court will allow me, I'd like to go with a 7-year at 44,000, and with a 3-year, and then at 3 years pay it off.
3-year term.
It'll be financed for 7 years, but I'll pay it off for 3 years. Pay it for 3 years, and then after 3 years, I'll pay it off completely. It's allowed through. I talked to.
Commissioners Court, this is Noe again, and we did discuss this with Drew, with Government Capital, and he said that would be no problem where we could take that option and pay it off in 3 years with a full amount.
I just want to include it, if it's approved, I want to include it in the agreement.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
The 7 payment.
7-year term, right? Or
7
7
years.
payment? 7 years?
It's a 7-year.
At 334, right? 3.34% rate. Okay.
And payments, what was the amount?
So it'll be 44,923.26 payment.
But it's a smaller interest.
44 times 7.
Yeah,
7
it's just
years.
one annual payment, which is it'll be about 134,769 in 3 years. So it'll be right under half. So in my 3rd year, I'd like to, if I'm still here, or just leave it a note there that. And luckily we have the
funding in
the funding for it, because where we get a lot of funding from is the garbage disposal. So I mean the garbage collection.
Okay.
So I made a motion.
We have a motion on the floor to accept that term as stated, as presented.
Second.
And the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed?
Thank you.
Motion passes. Yes, sir. Okay, agenda item 21, update on location choice for district clerk record storage. Mr. Guerrero.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to just say, thank you for being here. Anyway, we're working on multiple options, locations. We're negotiating, talking, getting some responses back from a couple of options, and then looking also at the text dot and looking at the integrity of the slab or foundation that's there, see if that's an option to be able to build up on that or to redo that for a actual building that would sit on there to meet the district clerk's office and Mr. Guerrero's criteria and the what's required and what he's asking. So that's where we're at right now, still coming back, and we should have something solid here by the end of next week. Mr. Guerrero, would you like to say anything about our options?
No, only that, we realize the urgency of trying to get out of the mall, so we're, trying to work as quick as we can.
And,
if we have to find an alternate location
temporary
to move, I know that we will. I know Commissioner Garcia talked about the sheriff's building in there. One of the things that I kind of looked at, that if we're gonna go towards the building at TxDOT, then we may have to use that to move that stuff that's in there that's being stored for the auction. So, I mean, we have to, but.
We're considering that, and
Have you looked
Have
at the
y'all
inside of that building, David, of the TxDOT building?
The right side?
Yeah, when you walk into the TxDOT building all the way to the back.
the training, he's talking about the area, the office space, actually,
Yeah,
the office
the
space.
partition, there's just some partitions there that can be removed. You can probably put all your stuff in there until you decide where to go. It's not that we're gonna stay there forever.
Right,
just-
it's an
it just
option.
needs- have you even looked at it? I think it's big enough. It's probably a section about.
I've looked at it, and we've been in there, and the only thing
and
there
it's
that
not like
the
it's
sheriff
gonna
is
be-
using.
You're gonna be
some
there
of that.
forever. It's just.
But have you looked at another place or
I did
anything?
not, the judge wanted me to just wait instead of paying double move, then move again, to see, but, because of the situation with the mall.
We
may
did get
have
a
to
notice.
We may have to move out and pay double and then move back into the final place of where we're going to be, so, I've been meeting with Juanito, Judge Rodriguez, and.
We're working on it, so we'll here Tuesday, we have another meeting special. I'll put something and we'll give a status there as to, we'll have a better idea next week. Anybody else, anything, any questions or anything? We're good? Thank you for that update.
Thank you, Mr. Guerrero.
Okay, agenda item number 22, consider approving county treasurer's report and other monthly reports.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 23, consider approving county auditor's report. That's pretty straightforward there. That's a good one. Noe, anything?
Comiendo,
Noe?
No, está comiendo.
It's okay. If he doesn't have anything, I think, Is he gonna make a presentation or no?
Okay, here I am. I'm gonna go ahead and make the presentation for the audit reports. First of all, the sales tax report, this is February 28, 2021. At this point, we have a budget for 2021 of 2,625,392. Year to date, we have recovered 420,563.69, or 16% of for the year. We received, Jim Wells County received 228,238.67. Compared to last year, we received in February of 2020, 269,821.87. That's a sales. The next report is the county auditor's report. This is for February 28, 2021. Total revenues for everybody, our budget is 24,310,789.71. We have actual of 15,618,707.78, or at a 64% of our revenues have been collected. Everybody is listed here with their departments. The amount should be no more than 17. The general fund is at 16%. Everybody together, total expenditures is at 15. Like I say, percentage at this point is 17, so we're 2% positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Noe.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
I'll make a motion to.
Okay, have a motion on the floor to approve the auditor's report in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Noe. Agenda item number 24, consider approving payroll and bills submitted by county auditor with the exemption of Fund 52, 53, and 54.
I just wanted to say that on mine, they charged the meals for the vaccine clinic.
Yes.
Well, they put them, they were gonna go to the
Yeah,
judge's office. And
okay.
they put them to me.
They put them to you? Okay. Well, that right there, we can tell Noe that those expenditures need to come to us so we can.
That, I believe, was posted before we got the money. Everything that's coming in, it'll be Fund 28, and anything else coming in, we're gonna charge it to 28 margin. That was just probably right at the very time that we got the money. But we're looking closely at everything coming in, our office and the judge's office, and we're gonna go ahead and make sure that everything is correct.
Thank you, Noe, for, and I know it's a lot of extra effort and work for the record that we never anticipated, and our staff and Noe's staff.
Yes, both staffs are working hard on that, and we will keep up with it.
Thank you very much.
Noe, one other issue, Margie and I met, and representatives of Crystal Spawn met yesterday with the Luminaire people. And so we need to include reimbursement, or at least request reimbursement for the cost of the software. Crystal Spawn is going to begin using it. There may also be an additional cost for maybe 5 or 6 iPads to implement that, but that should make the vaccination process more efficient, both on site and also with the data reporting. So
as long as those iPads are purchased and come through our department, we can go ahead and pay them out of 28, and they'll be COVID related, and we'll take care of it for them. Okay?
Thank you, Noe.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you, Michael and Margie, for also helping with this Luminaire and making that available.
Vaccine clinic was crazy.
What's crazy? Well,
It's crazy.
it's crazy. The vaccine clinics, and you know what? Fortunately, we're having more vaccines. It's just becoming more and more.
I mean, the traffic, it
traffic.
wasn't
Judge,
at the hospital.
just real quick, we had homebound vaccines yesterday through the military.
Yes.
We covered all the way from Rios to Palito Blanco, Bembo, Fremont, Orange Grove here in Alice. So
They were very
it worked
pleased.
out
Some
real
of the
good.
residents
Yes.
called that were visited,
It worked out real good, real
located
smooth.
at their homes personally. So that was a real great resource, and the guard that was made available. But again, can't say enough. I don't know about the traffic at Christmas. They decided to do it over there, but we had a pretty thing going on. Margie had a pretty good thing going on at the fairgrounds. I mean, it went smooth. We've gotten kudos from all across the state. So, and not everybody has the right
Yeah, we had a lot of people
traffic
all over the
and
state.
the right staff and personnel, the way it's organized. but we did a real good. I can't wait for the award for that now. We're gonna get an award for that, but nobody wants to be left behind.
Oh, yeah.
And off the record, for the record, we vaccinated over 50% of our, and it's, the numbers are there. They don't want to put it out because it's gonna look bad. I said, what do you mean it's gonna look bad? If we have more, what's wrong with that? I mean, I don't know how they distributed or vaccines or how they did it, for the record, but we've vaccinated a lot more people than most counties in our surrounding area per capita. I want to get that report, but they don't want to make anybody else look bad. Okay. Anything else,
I make a
guys?
motion to adjourn.
Did we okay the bills?
Oh, we didn't?
No, I make a motion to approve the bills.
Okay.
Thank you.
Except
I'll
Fund
second it.
5253.
All
Thank
right.
you, Noe.
Okay, thank you.
I have a motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Who
Make a
second?
motion to adjourn the meeting.
And
Wicho, you
second it.
second?
so we have a
Make a
motion.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, I have a